Hey everyone, it's Rhonda here from Nelson's Soapery. Today we are going to be making bath bombs. So here is all the ingredients you need, and I'm going to show you how you can actually bloom everything as well. Blooming is what gives the colour. So we do have our bicarbonate soda here, and we're going to be making a rainbow one today. So we've got the bicarb, like I said, and then in here these are the micas we're going to use, as well as that little container on top, that messy little one which has lots of dye all over it. That is going to be the dye to color the water for today, and that's going to be a beautiful apple green. And then of course we do have our molds. These ones are from Lee molds. They're a heart, so they'll make anything from about 70 grams to up to say 160 gram mold, depending how much you pack it, of course. Now inside that is my fragrance oil we'll be using much later, and then this one is going to be the water so that we can bloom it all. So let's get going, and I'll show you how I mix it all, and then we're going to pop it in the mixer. Now first things first, I need to pop on some gloves because that is very important, isn't it? Now we'll pop this one aside because we don't really need that one yet. That is for much later on. Now, something that I thought I will actually tell you is you probably noticed that I have my micas set here. Now, the reason for this is that we're only going to be doing one particular dye colour. If I did an orange dye, a pink dye and a green dye, mix them into one bath bomb, this would turn out to be probably a disgusting kind of brown looking colour. So that's why I'm going to make the water, like I said, just green. And then all of these colours are just going to look pretty on top, and it will give a tiny pop of colour, but it's not going to give a massive swirling one. If you want that, you need to do an embed in the inside, but we're not going to do that because this heart mold's a little bit flat for that. So the first thing to do is we're going to do each individual colour first, and then we are going to literally bloom it. So I have my like sifter here, and to the side I do have my stand mixer. So we're going to do one of these at a time in the stand mixer, which I'll show you how I do that. And then we're going to just add everything else we need. But before we do that, let's move that aside and this one aside just a tiny bit. Now here we do have the fragrance oil, which we don't need yet. And this one is just going to be some water. So let's just add like probably about half a tablespoon or a teaspoon, roughly that. It doesn't matter, it's not that important. So it's a very tiny bit of water. This is distilled water, and I will put the lid on before I spill that. And then, like I said, we've got our apple green. I don't like mine massively coloured. I don't like them to be hugely coloured. So literally I just use the end of this, and it's just a tiny bit, and then we're just going to pop that in here because I just don't want it to be massively, you know, crazy coloured. So this is going to be my main colour. So pretty much one of these I'm going to bloom in this with a little bit of that green in it. The others I'm going to bloom without any water soluble dyes. They're just going to have micas to give the colour, because that's what's going to attract people to grab it. But like I said, you could do 3 of these in all different colours if you want. I just personally don't like that because mine aren't, like I said, I make sure that they're more of a pastel kind of colour. I don't want the hassle of them possibly staining someone's bath. But anyway, like I said, so we've done that bit. So now let's get the stand mixer organised, and I'll show you that bit. So now here is my stand mixer. I have got the sifter on top already, and then we are going to add these. Now I do usually buy my bicarbonate soda in a massive 20 to 25 kilo bag, but for this experiment we're going to use these small ones to show you that you can just go to your local shop. These are just from my local shopping centre, which is called Woolworths in Australia. This is 1 kilo in here as well. Now, if you're in another country and you use a different metric system, you can easily just Google a calculator to calculate grams in Australia and so on. But in the description box below, I will actually pop in this in ounces, because I know a few of you from the US watch me, and you probably want this in ounces. So basically this is going to be a little more than a 3 kilo mix, because remember we're going to do 3 colours, but we're just going to divide it into individual colours first. So, and you can you know, you can actually do this that I'm doing now. You could do this a week in advance. You don't need to do it the same day. So if you sort of think, oh, I'd love to do it, then do it that way. And when I have massive orders, I actually usually do 10 kilos of blooming at a time. Because that way you can just put it back in the bucket. It's not going to go hard because you haven't put any hardener in it. That's why it's literally just the bicarb at the moment. So to start with here, what we're going to do is start with the lightest color first. So if you're, for instance, just going to do orange like this one, as I said, remember this one is not going to have the dye in it. This is literally just going to have the mica. So all I'm going to do is put like maybe about a little bit less than a tablespoon. So this is probably 3/4 of a tablespoon. I popped in here. We're going to add our little mixer on top, mix it around, and then just keep stirring it. Now I'm going to add this paddle. Remember that when you're making bath bombs, it's a paddle, not a whip, that we're going to be adding in here. So I will just mix this one on here, and this mixer is just a $60 one from a department store. It is nothing fancy. So let's just turn this on. I better plug it in because I forgot to do that. And I'm going to mix this one round. I won't bore you with that. And then I'll mix the second color as well. We'll come back and mix the second one, and then I will show you with the water and the soluble dyes how we're going to mix that one. So now we are going to be adding in the second one. So let's just pop in this again. So I've already done the orange and set that aside. So once again, we're going to add another kilo of bicarbonate soda. And as I said, we're going to do our second colour. And I hope it's not too noisy when I wiggle it around because I do have the microphone set aside. So let's just pop this one in here. And I'm going to give you the recipe today, but if I ever don't give a recipe and you want that, just go and check me out on Patreon. I do have a Patreon account, and it's as little as $5 a month. And then basically you can read all my blogs on there. I do a workshop once a month on there as well that's not on YouTube. And they also get the videos before anybody else on YouTube get the videos as well. So that's really handy, isn't it? And I give supplies lists and things like that on there. So now we have added that in. Let's just take that off. You don't really need that to add the mica. So now we're going to add the pink because this is going to just be a pink mica. Now there's a tablespoon in here left. There's only a tiny bit in this little container. So let me just, this is from Sud Off as well, all the micas. So it's sudoff.com.au. It's in Australia, and it's just a little Australian company, but they make absolutely beautiful ones. So let's turn this on. And as I said, you know, we're just going to turn it on, let it do its magic. So let me move you nice and close, and you'll see this is basically all I'm doing, and it will slowly mix it. Then you just turn it around with your spatula and make sure it's doing its job. So like I said, I'll mix this, and then I'm going to bring you back when we do the water soluble. So now let's do the last one. So here is my bicarbonate soda. I'm about to pop in it. Once again, the sifter. I know that I'm boring saying that, but it's really important because if you don't use it, you can get lumps and bumps, and then you won't get that smooth bath bomb. And I do actually get people asking me all the time how I get the smooth bath bomb, and this is definitely it. Now, another way to do this is you could literally mix everything in one go and then separate it to add your colours, but it just means that you may not get as vibrant colours because you're not blooming them first. So that's why I'm doing it this sort of trickier way. I don't always go the fast way. I go the way that I think is going to be the best result in the end for the product. So let's just sift this in here. I do suggest you wear a mask when you're working with any powders as well. Obviously I don't have one on because I'm showing you how to do this. And you will have noticed, as I said, there's no cream of tartar, no hardener, so it's not going to go hard until we add everything else in. So in here, remember, we do have this little green liquid. So we're literally just pouring it in. So I'll take you up so that you can see. That's literally all we're doing. We're just going to pour it in, turn it on, and then this will mix up beautifully. Now, if if you dip it in like I did like that, it gets everything out from the outside because it's bicarb, so it will literally absorb any colour to the outside. And now let's just turn this one on. And slowly it's going to mix it. So I'm going to move the camera a little bit so that you can actually see it mixing. And you can see I'm just doing it slow. You could put it on a higher one. So let's just turn it up 1. But I usually just do 1. And then the main thing in between is we need to take, get a spatula and turn it. So let's just open this one up and, like I said, we're going to stir it round because that's what's super important. And once this particular one here mixes in quite well, then we're also going to add a little bit of green mica, because remember that water-soluble dyes, if they're in a sun or especially if they're in a shop, they can actually lose their colour a little bit. So now we've mixed a little bit of this in, so let's just put about a teaspoon of mica. So I've just added that, which is this beautiful green you can see to the side of the camera. And this green is called Apple Green Cosmetic grade mica, and that is from Sudoff in Australia. And now it's going to go that sort of light Kermit green, which is really, really pretty. I love this colour. And you'll be able to see when we make these too that do remember, once we're putting in citric acid honestly changes the colour. It will brighten it up a lot. So don't think, oh, that looks really dull, I want it bright. And in the past, I've added heaps of dyes thinking, oh, I need heaps of dyes. And then at the end, it's come this like super bright one that I haven't loved. So I definitely 100% suggest going lighter rather than darker. You can always put extra mica in, but of course we can't take it out. So I will mix this one up and then I'm going to bring you back for the fun stuff. So now we do have our green that is ready. Now let's just start to put all this together. So we're going to pop in this. Now this is cream of tartar. So we're just going to add 2 tablespoons of cream of tartar. That is going to make this harder. So now also in here, and we do have to work fast when we're doing all these colors. So I'll show you the first one, then I'm going to quickly do the others and then we will mold it. Now, because we have added in mica, it's really important that you do add polysorbate 80 because that stops it sticking to the bath or anything else. But first of all, I'm going to be adding in 2 tablespoons of sweet almond oil. You can use any carrier oil that you want. But this will give it a beautiful silky finish. I usually use jojoba oil, but I've ran out of that, and it's okay because this particular store I'm making these for, they don't want jojoba oil in them. So, and then 1 tablespoon of your polysorbate 80. Like I said, that's just going to help the mica not stick to the bath. So the customer will absolutely love you for that, I promise. And now let's just mix this up. And of course, we are going to also be adding in the fragrance oil. And I do have some already set aside. Now this is going to be for 3. So I'm just going to add a portion of that in. The rest is for the other ones. And like I said, we're going to mix it. And basically what I do when I mix is I keep turning it with the spatula. And you'll soon notice, and I can already feel that's hard. We want a couple sprays of witch hazel because that will give it that moist kind of feeling. And this is the easiest way to mix a bath bomb. So I will get going with this and I'll bring you back in just a moment. Alright everyone, so we've got our pink, our orange and then our green. And I did forget to say before, make sure you put 400 grams of citric acid in each of these at the end and then mix it all in because we forgot to do that and I was running out of time. So now we'll pop these ones aside, won't we? And I'm just going to have to find somewhere to put them. We kind of want them in a bit of a row. And then I'll move this out the way because this is going to be, where I'm going to place everything. So hopefully you can see nice and easy here. So basically here I do have my mold and my scale. Now this is really important to everybody to make sure you weigh every single one because this is for a customer and they're paying for something, so they should get what they're paying for. And by you just filling it up without measuring it, it means that you don't actually know. So I'm just going to get this to grams, and let's just do it. So all I'm going to do is literally just use a spoon and keep adding from one to the other. That way you get a really fun type colour in here. And then of course we're going to push it down in a minute once all of that is reaching the, you know, the weights that we want this to be. So I actually want these to be 130 grams. So at the moment it's 125, so let's just add a bit more in. And of course you're going to lose a little bit, so just add a bit more than you know what it says. So we can push this down a little bit, that's fine. So now this says 136, which is perfect. We're going to put the top on. Now you don't need your, you know, I use a hand press, but you actually don't need to do it if you don't want to. But I'll get the hand press just so I can show you. So this is my hand press, and basically all we're going to do is just push it in, you know, but with these molds you actually don't need a hand press. You can just press it by hand. So then basically all we're going to do is push it out, which you can already see this fabulous colour, and we'll see if it comes off easy. It usually does. And look how fun they are. I mean, they're so adorable. So I'm going to just add these on to here, and then that's it, and I'm done. So I'll come back and show you when I've finished. So I thought I would bring you back just to show you that bath bombs is messy business. So let's just tear out the scale again, and basically, like I said, I'm just pretty much going from each jar, adding in, you know, this kind of amount, and then we'll put it back on the scale to make sure that it's definitely going to be the right weight, and it's not. So let's just add some more in. And that's what I mean, everyone, about making sure that you're weighing it, because it may look like this others, but you just don't know. So it's, you know, really important. And we'll just take some off if you put too much in. So, and then that one was a little bit under, so let's just put a tiny bit on. And once again, we're just going to add this on. And basically, you can see that I'm just pushing it super hard. Give it a tap that way. You don't have to tap it, but it was just to tap the excess. That's what this is, just the excess. And then literally, I'm just going to take it off here and put it straight on the tray. So you have to be really gentle or you will break it. I did break one just before. And I'll also show you, you know, like how much I'm getting out of this once I finish. So I've already finished one tray. And on the one tray, I've got 4, 8, 12 on one tray. So hopefully we will get at least 20 to 24. And then, of course, from here, you need to do your numbers to be able to say, you know, how much, you know, like how much each one cost you, because that is super important as well. So that one is right. Let's just push it all in. So I usually just push it all back in the center. And then, of course, we're going to pop in the top of the mold. These molds are super easy. As I said, I got them from Lee Molds. I think it was about $33 for this size heart. And this is the flat heart, if anybody wants to buy a heart. And I decided this year to make my business more uniform that I was going to have pretty much all the bath bombs are going to end up being in hearts. And my new logo has hearts on it, so it kind of matches. And they're the kind of things you got to do as a business, just to, you know, make you stand out a little bit. I thought, look, everyone has a round mold, don't they? I mean, you know, do I really want to just have a standard mold? And then I thought, no, I don't. I want it to be a bit different. So yeah, so basically that's how this came to life. So let me just pop this in as well. And as I said before, look how messy it is. I mean, seriously, making bath bombs is messy. There's a lot of companies that don't do it because of the mess. So look, I'm going to say I don't absolutely love making bath bombs, but I love the process. And also, don't worry if you get like a little dot like that that isn't perfect on it. I mean, go to some big stores. They're not perfect either. So, you know, and we're making a handmade product here. We're not trying to, you know, make something that's not. If anything gets stuck, make sure you just pop them off. So yeah, so like I said, I'm going to bring you back when I've done it all. I'll show you both of the trays. I'll calculate how much we actually were able to get out of a 3 kilo mix. And also on top of that, as I said before, if you want to come over to my Patreon to learn a bit more or support me over there, because it's really helpful for me and for everyone else that joins over there. We've got over 100 people on there, which is really exciting, isn't it? So, and I just do some blogs and things like that. I'm really transparent on there. You can ask me any questions you like. So if I forget to get to something on YouTube, although I really do try to answer everyone, of course you can answer or ask me questions over there. But anyway, for now, like I said, I'll go and then I will bring you back in just a moment. So we have finished, everybody. We ended up getting 29 of these gorgeous bath bombs out. So they are ready, and let's just leave them for about 10 hours time. I'll come back and have a check on them with the dehumidifier on, and we will see how they're going.